Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the intro. Yes, my first business was actually when I was at school. I realized all my friends loved loud music and house parties. So I convinced my grandfather to lend me some money, and I bought a sound system. And I rented it to them every weekend. And it eventually ended with 21 sound systems. And I sold the business in my first year of varsity. So that was my first foray into business. But yes, thank you. So I am the founder of PayJustNow. It's been quite a significant journey. We've just turned 5 years old on the 1st of August. And as mentioned, we have onboarded north of 1.8 million customers. We are onboarding in excess of 100,000 customers a month. So that's 2 football stadiums a month that we are onboarding onto the platform. We are available at just over 8,800 locations, both online and in store, in those 5 years, and we process several billion rands worth of trade every single year. So what is buy now, pay later? So let's quickly get into it. So at a very high level, where this all started was I was looking at consumer trends in Australia, and actually it was at a braai, like most South Africans love to have. A braai on a Saturday afternoon. It was actually Christmas, and this Australian friend of mine was at the braai, and he said, well, do you know about buy now, pay later, where you are able to purchase things and they charge you no interest and no fees, yet you can split the payment. So you can split the payment over 4 terms in Australia, as an example, and in other words, you can split it over 4 months, and you pay nothing to split it. Now that was quite interesting to me, and I tried to understand how exactly that would work and why someone in their right mind would do that. Because how do you make money off something like this? In any case, I went along and quickly understood that it's not the customer that actually pays for this product, it's the merchant. The merchant increases their merchant fee, and it's that merchant fee that affords the customer to not pay any interest or any fees. What did we do in South Africa? We took that concept. In Australia, you get paid every second week. In South Africa, we adapted to monthly because we were targeting salaried individuals. We knew that South Africans know the word just now, and in South Africa, just now means anywhere between in the next second and in the next month and possibly in the same year. So I then quickly realized that we didn't own the domain, PayJustNow.com. It was owned by a chap in Bangalore. So off I went. I flew to Bangalore with $5,000 in my pocket, and I paid him on a street corner, and I bought the domain PayJustNow.com. And that's literally how we bought the domain. And we then went on to launch it, right? So as a global trend, buy now, pay later is an extremely fast-growing trend within the payments landscape. I'm calling it a payment. And it is something that we have noted is adding a significant value to the ecosystem. There is a misconception, however, There is a misconception, however, and I'm going to introduce you to Palesa, as to who uses buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later, we thought initially was people who would use it from an affordability perspective. But what we have realized is that every single person needs to split a payment. In my particular case, I had to put 4 new tires on my car. I am quite financially savvy, I would say, but I do not budget for my tires, and I don't think any accountant actually budgets for their tires on their car. And I realized that at that point I need to split, and that was the use case for me, where I needed to split those tires, those 4 tires, which cost 20,000 Rand, into 3 payments, and I didn't feel like paying interest or any fees, and I used the product. So we have 2 Palesas. We have Palesa, who both of them are 36 years old. Both of them spend roughly 1,500 or 1,400 Rand every single time she uses us. Both of them have a monthly income of roughly 20,000 Rand. But there are people who use it from an affordability and matching their cash flow because it costs nothing. And then there's a second Palesa, a Palesa that uses this particular platform because she trusts the platform. We have saved her card, we have given her the confidence, and we have given her her time back. It's quite an interesting concept that we drive through our business, is that her time is her most important asset. So if she doesn't have to take the card out every single time she's shopping, if she doesn't have to log in every single time she's checking out, if she feels confident that this service is giving her the trust and the opportunity to save her time, then she uses us. The power of her. The interesting part was, and you'll note that is that our customers are women. We thought they would be men, right? I put on leather shoes as one of our first merchants. I onboarded the merchant myself. I could not speak to the owner of the business, so I had to buy 30,000 Rands worth of shoes and handbags to be able to eventually get to the owner. Quickly realized that that's not feasible. I cannot go into every merchant and be able to go and buy all the leather goods in the store to be able to speak to the owner. So we thought that it was a man who was going to buy leather goods, which happened to be me. And I quickly realized that it's not me, and it is actually a woman. And what the research is showing us is that between 70 and 80% of our available spend is going to be controlled by women in the next 5 years. She is in control of discretionary spend. She is in control of the first billion Rand that we did this year. She was 70% of that billion Rand that we did in terms of trade. We've also noted that she is very focused on reinvesting within her family and within her community. So she focuses on buying things that add value to her life. They are not fast fashion. They are not FMCG goods. This is not what she uses this product for. She uses it to better her life. She buys things for her home. She buys things for herself. An interesting part, because it's fee-free and interest-free, we have saved her over 100 million Rand in fees and interest by her using this. The interesting part is that 100 million Rand actually went back to our merchants. Because the customer's not paying the fees and interest, she's able to spend that money on her next purchase. In terms of the adoption within the South African market, and this is primarily where we operate, as I said, we have 40-folded our users since 2021 to 2024. We're just short of 1.8 million people. This was at the half, which was in June. And as I said, we are onboarding at 100,000 customers a month at the moment, new customers a month. And as I said, the trend has remained that it is a woman first that is actually making the bridge to buy now, pay later. And secondly, she also prefers to divert significantly more of her income because she's getting a fair deal. She is realizing that not paying the interest and the fees allows her to then be able to take that money further and actually spend it on something else. This is a double-sided platform. There's two customers in Buy Now, Pay Later. The first one is the consumer, Palesa in this particular case, and on the other side of the platform is the merchant. We mustn't forget about the merchant. We're available, as I said, just over 8,800 locations. We're onboarding probably about 400 to 500 locations, new locations a month at this stage, and it is growing incredibly quickly. But one of the things that Buy Now, Pay Later does is it takes this community of 2 million people and it directs them to the merchants that support this particular model. So we referred 32 million customers last year off our website back to our merchant partners. 32 clicks, 32 million clicks back to the merchants. So we're driving the ecosystem. The customer comes to us, she finds what she's looking for, she looks where she can buy it, and she takes the opportunity for us to direct her to that store, and she makes the purchase and the cycle goes around. What's next? Innovation in our hyper-personalization. So one of the things we've realized is that it was an interesting concept. We launched a store directory. It was a place where people could find where they could use buy now, pay later. We thought it was a list of stores, and we realized that there were significantly more people looking at that stores page than actually using us. And we realized that people use it as a source of inspiration to find other smaller boutique brands that she may be interested in. So we launched on our stores directory something search. So we have an AI-powered search capability on our stores directory page where you can literally go and type in the brand of your shampoo. And it will tell you which stores have it today. So it actually drives the customer to where she can actually go and shop. It tells her, and it's a self-learning algorithm. As people check out with that shampoo, we learn that that shampoo is available at that store. And so the algorithm self-learns itself as to where people can buy what. It's a highly, highly, highly innovative area where she can search for things and understand where she could use buy now, pay later. As I said, 8,700 of those and growing significantly faster. On the right-hand side, we launched a deals area. So everyone loves a deal, right? I love a deal. Everyone loves a deal. It's a place where she can go and see which merchants are currently on sale. And she can scroll through those merchants and see if there's anything there that she might be interested in. So Adidas having a 50% off sale, we process Adidas's payments. So in that particular case, she would be able to go and find that particular sale, and she would be able to go and find it. And it's one place where she comes to understand where the opportunity is, and it's free. There's no interest or any fees for her to check out. The third thing we innovated with is we launched a wallet. And why was this? So in South Africa, the card rail network, to return a refund, takes roughly 2 working days for the money to get back to the customer's account. In a perfect world scenario. In a non-perfect world scenario, it could be anywhere between 5 working days and 7 working days. So one of our key complaints that that came on from one of our customer service teams was that I want to be able to spend the money immediately again. If I get a refund from a merchant, I want to be able to spend it right now somewhere else. So we introduced a wallet where we took the refund back to the wallet and from the wallet back to the next merchant, allowing her that instant opportunity to be able to shop. The wallet platform has seen significant growth in terms of the people who are engaging with that particular wallet area and the opportunity of being able to use it to divert spend back into the network. That's it. Are there any questions? Sure, there's got to be a few. Yes.
Yes, some in the middle there.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my question is just maybe just bandwagon what we're speaking about. We're speaking about cybersecurity. We're speaking about how sophisticated fraud is getting.
Yep.
So I know with PayJustNow, I've particularly seen it on Bash. And so when I'm not engaging directly with your app, but now I'm engaging with Bash, which is, I guess, third party, if you may call it, in a case where now let's say, fine, I have the first purchase, that was me. And then the second time around, maybe some form of cybersecurity or fraud happens, and then credit is taken off of my account. Where does that risk, is it the risk on you, or is it the risk on me? Then I have to deal it with my financial institution. And then is it like a partnership? Like, do you guys partner with the financial institutions just to manage that whole ecosystem? Yeah.
So one thing, thank you for the great question. I'm gonna touch on it now. One thing that we believed in, and we still believe quite strongly, and I think it comes to John's and the earlier question, is that you have to train service internally within your organization, and it's got to be a critical pillar of success within your organization. So you would be glad to know that, John, in our particular case, 20% of our service team's time is actually spent on training permanently, right? So the service team is only 15 people in its entirety serving 2 million customers, because we use extensive AI capability and ML, but 20% of their time goes towards training. So if the customer engages with us, the first thing is obviously in that particular case that they are well-trained representatives of our organization, and they are vigilant to be able to understand the risk, and if the customer is in fact the customer, right? So that's the first part. The second part is we have deployed selfie at checkout, which means that as you are transacting and you are at Game, as an example, which is one of the big white brand stores here in South Africa, and you are checking out at the till and you are about to buy that washing machine, we do a selfie. And we say, hey, hang on, this is free, but we need to know it's you. And we do a selfie, and the customer appreciates that. It's not seen as the negative, as you're saying, right? And I think there was an earlier question around the negative of cyber security. It's not the negative. It's actually she believes us, and she actually has gone on now to tell her friends that they take the selfie from me. We've actually had customers ask us, can I have the selfie? I want to show my friend. Which is, I mean, quite contrary to what you would think, right? But so yes, we've deployed selfie in checkout flow, and we turn on selfie as and when we need it, and it's completely driven by an ML AI model as to when the platform is feeling uncomfortable as to the actor, and in that particular case. But coming back to the old people, we have seen, and everyone uses this platform, young and old, right? We had an elderly lady purchase a saddle for her horse, you know, using this platform, a 71-year-old, and she has a horse, and she purchased a saddle for 60,000 Rand for the horse. So in her particular case, the selfie didn't work, right? Because what's on her ID at Home Affairs and where she is today are vastly two different people, right? And so we had to, you know, these are the things you learn, and you had to go around and solve for those kind of scenarios. But that's what we have to do. And I think one thing I would like to stress is that AI is being used aggressively towards us as financial institutions to try and get around us. The hackers and the bad actors are using the same tools that we use to defend. They are using to get around us, and we're just going to have to stay ahead on it. Cool. Okay.
Christopher from Bamboo. Congrats on your journey so far.
Thanks, Chris.
Do you consider yourself a competitor to your default payment gateways? So Peach, Paystack, Payu, and all the likes? Because this is a very brutal space, right? And there are a lot of big players in this space. So how do you see yourself? Are you a competitor to them? Do you feel like you're eating some of their market share? Or are you just an additional tender, you know, at checkout?
So the way I look at it, Christopher, is that the customer is always right, right? And in this case, the customer who is checking out, the consumer, I think she needs as much choice as possible, firstly, right, in terms of payment mechanisms. We don't compete directly head-to-head with payment processors like Peach Payments, et cetera, et cetera. We are actually additive to that, I believe. And then secondly, from the merchant's perspective, I think the merchant should get every opportunity to make the sale. So that means being able to process credit cards and debit cards as they normally would, a buy now, pay later solution, possibly two. I would even advocate putting two on, right? Because different buy now, pay later solutions talk to different people. And then possibly a longer term, 12-month kind of product. And then possibly even a lay-by. Lay-by has not disappeared. I think it's the customer has to be seen as the hero, and no, we're definitely not competitive to that. And we work within the banking framework, right? We use the card rail to collect payments. We use the card rail to transact. So we're not outside of the banking realm. We support the bank in terms of the banking technology stacks.
Thanks so much. I think just keeping to the theme of the customer, what I want to get a sense of is what is the appetite for the wallet feature, particularly because in the terms of my peers, this year has hands and it's been fighting aggressively against, the saving aspect of our customer. So just taking a look at some of the stats which speak to our customers finishing their or spending their income within 7 days of receiving it, what then is the appetite for the wallet feature, which I assume is like a savings feature on your platform?
Great question, right? So firstly, our wallet does not offer any other benefit other than getting the refund turned around. There's no interest, there's no savings, there's no additive that we will give the customer. In saying that, the customer has asked to save with us. She's asked, can I put money aside for my friend's birthday coming up, but I don't want it in something that has a debit order. I want it there, where there's no debit orders. I want to be able to spend it when I am. And she's choosing us as the brand to try on that trust journey. She's having that discussion with us, which I find quite strange. But it's not in our roadmap at this point to add savings as a feature to it. But there is definitely appetite for savings.